Today, I'm going to show you how to buy Bitcoin in the UK. If you're new to Bitcoin, it can seem a bit overly complicated, as there are lots of different ways you can buy and sell Bitcoin, with countless exchanges and lots of different offerings of NFTs and meme coins. But once you cut through the noise, it is actually quite simple. So in this video, I'm going to show you the most straightforward way of depositing money into an exchange and buying your first Bitcoin. And following this, I'm going to go through an even better way, which is slightly more complicated, but will save you a lot on fees. So with that being said, let's get into it. The first thing that you need to do if you want to buy some Bitcoin is sign up to a crypto exchange, which is effectively the marketplace for different cryptocurrencies and tokens. But for the purposes of this video, we're only interested in Bitcoin. Like I said, there are a ton of different exchanges out there that operate in the UK, and they all basically do the same thing. Coinbase are probably the most mainstream and most widely known, but the problem with them is that their fees are quite high. Personally, the one I like to use is Kraken. It's really easy to use and has an accessible interface, but also the fees are cheaper than Coinbase. Now, it's worth noting that in the UK, crypto is unregulated, and investing in cryptocurrencies falls outside of the regulations and laws set out by the Financial Conduct Authority, which basically means there isn't a lot of protection for customers like you and I if for any reason these platforms go under and cease to exist, which isn't the case for traditional investment accounts and banks, which are fully regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority, which offers FSCS protection and covers your money for up to £85,000 in compensation. But with that being said, in order to operate within the UK, these crypto exchanges must register with the FCA and comply with their laws. And Kraken is one of these registered platforms, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So once you've downloaded the app, filled out all your details and set up an account, you will have to do a knowledge assessment before actually being able to buy any cryptocurrencies. And this is a fairly new law which was brought in the UK. But once you've done that, you should be ready to go. So if I open up the app now, it's really quite simple. Now, as you can see, it's got a fairly easy user interface. And at the bottom, you can search for different cryptocurrencies. You can look at your portfolio and all your account details. But all we want to do is buy some Bitcoin. So to do that, you press this middle button here, you press buy, Bitcoin, and then simply select how much Bitcoin you want to purchase. So for this example, we're just going to do £100. Now you can do this with Apple Pay or with a debit card or a credit card if you don't have any money deposited into your account. And I'll just show you how that works. So you can do that here, and you can do up to £4,000. So if we press next, press understand, and then we see a breakdown of what it's going to cost us. So buying with Apple Pay is not a cost-effective way of buying Bitcoin. You can see it's charging in total over 5% in fees, which if you're going to be buying a lot of Bitcoin is not good. It's going to eat into your profits, and to be honest, it's just an unnecessary charge that you don't need to pay. So we're going to cancel that, and if we go back, the better way to buy Bitcoin in this app is to deposit money into the account first. So to do that, you simply press the same middle button, click deposit, and we're going to be depositing pounds sterling. So click that, and then you can link your bank account, which is the best way to do it as it doesn't charge a fee. You can see that PayPal's an option, but that charges a 2.4% fee, which isn't great. And you can do a manual transfer, but that's a lot slower. So the link bank account is the best way to do it. So all you need to do is click here and then find your bank account. So I usually use Monzo. Click Monzo, then select the amount you want, £100. Comes up like this, just confirm. And from there, it's going to take you directly to Monzo or whatever bank you're using. And it should be really simple and straightforward to do. Now I did this earlier and it only took about 10 or 15 minutes for the money to come in, which is pretty quick. It can sometimes take longer though, so just bear that in mind, especially at weekends. But once we have our pounds deposited, if we just go back to that middle button again, click buy, click Bitcoin, and then we're going to buy now, and then we're going to do £100 again using the cash available in our account, which is this top one, and then press next. And then you can see the fee has been massively reduced. So before we had over £5 in fee, which was 5%. Now we're looking at around a 1.5% fee, which is a lot better, but is actually still quite high, especially if you're going to be buying a lot regularly. But let's cancel all of that because luckily there is an even better way. So for this next method, we're actually going to have to download a different app, which is called Kraken Pro. Now, Kraken Pro is the same platform, but it's just a little bit more advanced. So it's fully integrated with the regular Kraken account. It's just a slightly different app that has more features. So it should be as simple as just downloading the app and logging into your Kraken account. So once you've done this, you can probably see the platform's pretty similar. It's got the same sort of bar at the bottom with the same functionality. And you can see here, I've got my £100, which I deposited into regular Kraken, which is now sitting in my Kraken Pro. So it's all fully seamless. In order to buy Bitcoin in Kraken Pro, you can't just buy it on a credit card. So you will have to deposit cash like I showed you before. But once you've done that and you have cash ready to go, we're going to do something called spot trading, which basically means you'll be entering a live marketplace of different buyers and sellers, rather than just buying Bitcoin directly from the exchange. So in order to enter this marketplace, once you've got your money deposited, you need to find the pair that you're going to be trading. And so for this example, it's going to be Bitcoin to Great British Pounds. So you can come into the search bar and type BTC, and then hopefully BTC to GBP will pop up. I've already got it favorited though, because obviously that's what I'm using the most. So there it is. So we can just click on that. Then it'll bring us into the chart. So you can have a look at the chart if you want, but to be honest, you're probably going to want to look at this on a computer. So all you need to do is go down to the button that says buy, click that, and then you can see we're set to buy, limit and spot. So what limit means is that you're going to set the price that you want to buy Bitcoin at, rather than just taking the current market price. If you want to just take the current market price, you can do that if you click the drop down and click market, but we don't want to do that because it's slightly more expensive, and I'll explain why in a moment. But the best thing to do is stick to limit, and we don't want to worry about any of the rest of the stuff because that's just for traders. Then we want to make sure that spot is selected rather than margin. Margin is when you're using borrowed money to invest, and it can be very dangerous and you can lose a lot of money. So it's best avoided in my opinion. And then if we come down, you can set the price that you want to buy your Bitcoin at. So let's say we want to buy it at 51,000. Type that in, and then we select the amount we want to pay, and then you can select the amount of pounds you want to use from your account. So let's say 100%. And then we'll see a little breakdown of what our available balance is, £100, estimated fee 0.25, and then we can leave it with post only off, good till cancelled, and conditional close none. And then all we need to do is press buy and it should go through. So there we go, my order's been created. But I obviously set a limit price cheaper than what the current market price is. So if we come back to the chart, you can see my limit order down here, and it probably won't be filled. So if we just click here, we can cancel that. You can also edit order if you want to, but let's just cancel this one for now. But hopefully what this shows you is that this is a much cheaper way of buying Bitcoin compared to using the regular Kraken app. Now, the only other thing to bear in mind is when you're trading spot, you actually have two different fees that you might get charged. You have what's called a maker fee and a taker fee. So a maker is when you become a market maker. So that is when you list a buy or a sell, rather than just taking something that someone else is offering. If you take a buy from an active seller, you're what's called a taker. And takers have a slightly higher fee of 0.4%. So if rather than setting a limit order and we just went for a market order, we would be a taker. So our fee would be slightly higher. So if I go through that process, if I go market, spot, 100%, you can now see the fee is 0.4% or 40p. So obviously it is a little bit more expensive than setting a limit order, but it's still a lot cheaper than using the regular Kraken app. So even if you just want to get a quick buy-in, you can set it to market and you will be filled and it'll be cheaper. What I like to do is set mine to limit and then just simply press best bid if I want to get an order filled quickly. And what this does is basically matches what the current best bid is so that you'll be at the top of the list if the market dips slightly, and then hopefully you'll get filled first. And this means that you'll get the market maker fee rather than the market taker fee. So it will save you a little bit in the long run. So that's it. It's really that simple to buy your first Bitcoin. And hopefully this shows that it really isn't that complicated if you just cut through the noise. Now, I just want to touch on something I mentioned earlier, which is that these crypto platforms are not regulated in the UK. And therefore, if you store your Bitcoin on these platforms and they go under, you could lose all of your Bitcoin, because although it is technically yours, they actually hold the keys. There's an argument that these platforms are safe and you shouldn't need to worry about this, but I personally just don't think that's a very logical argument. We all saw what happened with FTX, and so many people were left out of pocket and lost all of their crypto. And I know firsthand what it's like to lose all of your Bitcoin through one of these exchanges. So my personal view is that you shouldn't keep your Bitcoin on an exchange. Instead, you should take it off and self-custody. There are countless ways that you can do this, but there is loads of content out there going over the pros and cons of all these different methods. So hopefully you can find something that works for you. But in my opinion, the important thing to remember is to not keep your crypto on an exchange. But there we have it. Hopefully, if you are new to Bitcoin, that clears up some of the confusion. And now hopefully you know how to buy Bitcoin in a cost-effective way. One thing to note though is that buying and selling Bitcoin for a profit is a taxable event. So that means you will be subject to paying capital gains tax. There is a method though where you can invest and get exposure to Bitcoin, but in a way where all of your profits will be completely tax-free. So if you are interested in learning how you can do that, I'll leave a link on screen now to my video breaking down that method. But if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you found it useful, drop a like down below. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment. And if you are new around here, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. But with that being said, take it easy guys and enjoy the rest of your day.